Okay, so there's a thing called Locard's exchange principle. It's actually traditional forensics started, if you will, started during the time. Dr. Edmund Locard is the person who came up with this principle. And the idea is that in traditional forensics, if a person enters a crime scene, they will leave something and they will tend to take something back with them. So there's like two traces, two things that happen, right? So just like it says here, every contact between two people or systems leaves traces. The Locard actual principle talks about crime scenes, right? But this is kind of true for digital forensics as well, because you're talking about an account that accesses a file. So there's going to be some traces there. Something's going to be changed. Something's going to be left, either by that user account or, excuse me, by the system, whether it's logging. That's the sorts of things that you're looking at, right? The traces may be very small, a single log entry. Sometimes it's a lot of log entries if they do multiple things and you have the sensors pointed in the right way. Incidentally, from a red team pen testing standpoint, most organizations don't have internal facing sensors. They're all worried about the people coming over the fence, coming through the walls, right? So you have this big crunchy outside and this soft gooey inside. So just as a point to be made from a pen tester / vulnerability assessor, something to consider for your organizations is, should you have sensors facing in? Because once they get in, whether it's through a phishing email or a drive-by web download, now they can move around internally, and not as many things are looking for things happening on the inside. So consider that. There'll be a lot more ability to see the pieces or the traces that are left behind if things are looking inwardly, right? In general, like two hosts, you and your neighbor's computers, should not communicate with each other, right? If you need anything, you email each other a file, or if you need anything, you put it up on a share, you put it up on a SharePoint, whatever it is, and you can access that information. So perhaps there should be something watching on the inside that says, why is my machine talking with your machine? That sort of thing, okay? That'll help with this, the ability to find more of these traces left behind when things are happening, because most of the stuff that happens on the inside. Yeah, there's the initial bang getting in, but if you miss that, the searching, the lateral movement, right, the staging of that data, and exfiltrating all happens on the inside of a network, okay? So think about that a little bit. So breaking it down, ask the questions, right? Were there two digital objects or things? Was there contact in a digital sense? And was there exchange of digital artifacts? Did they leave something? Whenever you access a file in a system, there are at least 3 and possibly 4 attributes that could get adjusted. Well, initially, the one that's create time and date, that is going to happen exactly then, right? Whenever it's copied or whenever it's created is when it's going to actually, that date and time is going to be set. But if that person saves that thing, it'll have an attribute that deals with, excuse me, accessing that file. That date and time will change. If it's executed because it's a program, date and time will also change. Keeping that in mind, there are things that actually go and adjust those attributes. Some of it's called time stopping. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but that's where the malicious actor goes after the fact and cleans up any evidence. And sometimes it's very clever, and they're able to adjust the times and the dates to make them look at least wonky and different, and certainly not the true timeline that you'll be looking for. Other times they don't have enough time to do that. So what do? They wipe out your logs. They just go in and they just knock them out. So, excuse me, some things that can affect your ability to get at the traces of this Locard's exchange principle.